Welcome to How to Repair a Birmingham Dribbler, Part 2. After an initial clean using the ultrasonic cleaner, it is time to completely dismantle the engine, to take a look at the broken axle, and then make a replacement. In this clip you can see that the axle fits into the wheel. Well, it does at one end, at the other end it can't because the part's broken off. This is the broken end of the axle, and as you can see the hole in the middle is far too big. Originally this wheel was held to the axle using a metric countersunk bolt, probably M4, but it was too big for the 3/16 of an inch diameter axle shaft, where it was turned down at the end. It's top tip time, and this is a very useful tip. The countersunk bolts in the front wheels were quite tight. One I removed okay with a standard screwdriver without damaging the slot, but this one was far too tight. Here's a simple solution. Put the whole assembly in the lathe. Hold the screwdriver and rotate the chuck. This method works because the tailstock chuck is pressing on the screwdriver and holds it very tightly against the part you're trying to remove. As soon as the brass machine screw moves, stop rotating the screwdriver, remove the whole thing from the chuck, and then unscrew the bolt in the normal way. Here you can clearly see the problem. The bolt is quite short and stubby, and it only fits into the threaded part of the axle, and the whole assembly is not very strong. Not too bad on the front wheels as shown here, but in my case the rear axle broke almost immediately when I was playing with it. Here are the two axles. The front one's okay, the rear one's broken, and also in the shot are a pair of 5BA countersunk bolts which are much longer, as well as physically being a lesser diameter, which means the hole in the axle doesn't need to be as big. After the ultrasonic cleaning process, I noticed that just about everywhere on the cast alloy parts was a white residue. But then I found that by using a piece of kitchen roll soaked in WD-40, this white residue wiped away quite easily. I don't know what it was or where it came from, but it's gone now. As I mentioned in the first episode, I've owned this engine for a long time, and back in the day I used to be a heavy smoker, and I have a sneaking feeling that the white stuff is something to do with the chemical reaction of the solvent in the ultrasonic cleaner and the film of nicotine all over the engine. But as I've just mentioned, it wipes away okay with WD-40. I could possibly use something like flash with bleach, because that really does attack nicotine. Time now to remove the boiler. It's very difficult to clean this boiler in situ, and I'm going to take it off and clean it that way. Once I removed a nut and a bolt, and also the union nut around the steam pipe, the boiler just lifted off the frames. And here once again you can see the white residue on the surface of the frames as well as the surface of the boiler. This engine uses quite a few O-rings, and with the exception of the O-ring for the safety valve, none of them are serviceable, so I'm going to replace them all. This one was not quite as bad as the others, but I am going to change all of them. I will probably change them for these red ones. The good thing about the red ones is you can see them, and if ever they fall on the floor, they're easy to find. Plus, these are genuine steam-grade silicone O-rings. What I propose to do is make a stainless steel axle for the front. This is a piece of 3/16 of an inch diameter stainless steel. After facing across the front, I reduced the diameter a certain amount. I took the diameter from the end of the original axle and I'm duplicating it here. In no time at all, after a couple of attempts, I got the part to the right size, and here it is with the wheel sat on it. Now it's time to drill a hole down the centre, just long enough to take the 5BA bolts that I'm going to use. In this clip I'm drilling the hole, tapping size for 5BA, and the drill I'm using is 2.6mm diameter. I need to be careful with the next bit. I'm not doing this under power. First of all, I'm applying lubricant. This is WD-40, and then I introduce the tap to the hole in the piece of bar and very carefully thread it all the way down. This lathe has a reverse facility, but it doesn't go very fast. It's perfect for unwinding taps from newly threaded holes. I turned the part around in the chuck, and here I'm repeating the process. I'll run this sequence at a higher speed just to get through it. So it's the same principle, centre drill, drill all the way down, far enough to take a long 5BA bolt. After another squirt of WD-40, which is not an ideal lubricant, I thread the hole deeply using a high-speed steel 5BA tap. High-speed steel taps are definitely better than carbon steel taps. All I need to do now is turn the outside diameter to match the hole in the wheel. I've put a red cross on this part because I was a little bit quick off the mark. I didn't allow the time for the lathe to fully stop before introducing the micrometer. According to the hand wheel, I think one more pass should do it. And now, to verify that the end of the axle is the correct size, I fit the wheel. And yes, it fits very well indeed. Even though I'm using the rear wheel to test the diameter of the shaft, the stainless steel axle is going to be on the front wheels because it's more visible. In this clip I'm reassembling the front wheels on the axle, not forgetting to fit the bracket first. Currently I do not want all of these parts to be smothered in lubricating oil, so I'm just using a little WD-40 just to lubricate the part of the axle where it goes through the bracket, and as you can see it's running very freely. The original front axle is now fitted to the rear wheels, and here's the chassis loosely assembled. It will all need to come apart because there's some more work to do on the chassis, but that's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists, and by doing that you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.